Its rider's name was Death, and Hades accompanied him. They were given authority over a quarter of the earth to kill with sword, famine, and plague. Revelation 6:8.
As the Roman persecution of the Christians would finally end, so would fears of a coming apocalypse. The once obscure religion of Christianity would come to dominate all of Europe, and with that flowering of faith, the belief in angels would flourish among the devout as never before. Europe in the Middle Ages. For centuries, this period has been viewed as a shadowy time of fear, ignorance, and superstition. However, historians have discovered that it was also a time of ferment, an era of questioning and debate. And it was during this period that angels would become a focal point of intense scrutiny. Believing that these divine beings actually existed, medieval thinkers sought to unlock the most fundamental mysteries of their nature. Some philosophers theorized that angels were composed of a mysterious substance, sometimes called subtle matter, with its own magical powers.
Often you'll hear quoted as an example of the stupidity of the medieval mindset, the question, how many angels can dance on the head of a pin? We've all heard this. But actually, that's an important question when you are dealing with the properties of subtle matter. How many angels can you fit into a small space? Then becomes the key question.
Of all the geniuses of the Middle Ages, none was more brilliant than St. Thomas Aquinas, perhaps the greatest mind of the 13th century. Attempting to probe the nature of angels, the great philosopher would advocate an idea which would captivate the popular imagination for centuries to come.
Certainly St. Thomas Aquinas speaks with authority on the notion of the guardian angel, and he delineates the role of the guardian angel, and thereafter it remains a pretty basic component of Catholicism. And there are still many, many people who believe in the guardian angel.
From his own extraordinary perspective, Aquinas conceived of guardian angels as a powerful spiritual presence with far-reaching powers.
St. Thomas said you can have guardian angels not only of individuals, but guardian angels of families, guardian angels of nations. He guides you through threshold experiences, and in particular, of course, he's there at the end to guide you over the threshold of death.
A contemporary of Thomas Aquinas, Dante, would express his own extraordinary vision of angels in all their glory and mystery in his poetic masterpiece, The Divine Comedy. During this imagined journey through heaven, Dante explores the 9 levels, or choirs, in the hierarchy of angels. But strangely to Dante and others of medieval times, all these heavenly beings were not created equal. Instead, their power and influence was defined by their closeness to God. Nearest to God in the heavenly choir were the seraphim, cherubim, and thrones. Furthest from God and closest to human beings were the archangels, and lastly, angels. As Europe would emerge from the Middle Ages into the glory of the Renaissance, images of angels would take shape in the minds of transcendent artistic geniuses. Men like Raphael, Botticelli, and Leonardo da Vinci. Their immortal conceptions of angels would become indelibly imprinted on the human consciousness for centuries to come. In the Renaissance, however, angels were sometimes depicted as sensual, even erotic. Was this blasphemy? Or merely another twist in the strange evolution of these magical beings?
Theologically and philosophically speaking, angels are transsexual. That is, they are both male and female. Human sexuality was depicted as a part and parcel of the beauty and goodness of God's creation.
The angels envisioned by the great Renaissance sculptor Bernini evoked this mysteriously sensual mood, as in his magnificent sculpture of a sexually charged visit by an angel to Saint Teresa.
He seemed to pierce my heart several times. When he drew it out, he left me completely afire with the love of God. The Autobiography of Saint Teresa.
The Bernini depiction is a particularly erotic and powerful one. One of the great legacies of the Renaissance is to establish for us the visual notion of an angel.
From Renaissance times to our own, the transcendent images of these divine beings have endured. And despite the violent upheavals of the 20th century and the skeptical assaults of science, angels would continue to inspire humanity. It would come to pass in the 20th century that, like angels, human beings too would learn to fly. They too would journey high into the glittering heavens among the stars. And yet even now, despite all the wonders of their advanced technology, as in ancient times, they would seek comfort in the company of angels. In fact, modern studies have shown that as many as half of all people today believe in them. What is the secret power of these magical beings that inspire belief? And what does this reveal about angels and about ourselves?
When there is a lot of speculation about the angels, it probably indicates that people are feeling vulnerable. People are feeling uncertain about their world. And by speculating on the angels, particularly notions of guardian angels, that sort of thing, what they're really talking about is a sense of the need for protection.
In ancient times, a fascination with angels was usually a sign of belief in values of the spirit.